Hello, welcome to our session on The Battlefield Accelerates Our Tourism Destinations. My name is Carlos Sentís. I'm the founder and CEO of the World Innovation Alliance, which is a consultancy specialized on impact maximization, allowing the tourism industry to empower every traveler and every actor in the chain to maximize growth, but also a positive impact. Today, I'm delighted to share stage with amazing panelists, very influential and important roundtable and participants. And I'm going to introduce our co-panelists, and then we're going to just jump right into conversation. We were having a very interesting conversation right before this session, and there's so much to touch, and we want to make it as practical as possible. So we're going to just go straight to the point, and I would love to have way more time, because every single person here could be talking for 2 or 3 hours and give us an incredible lecture, and we would learn a lot. So let's just make it as fast as possible, and let's make it as valuable as we can. So with us, we have here, at my immediate right, we have Patrick Romano. He is the Managing Director of Bologna Welcome. Thank you very much for being here. Then we have Flavie Boudon. She is the acting chair of the European Cities Marketing. Then we have as well Patrick Bontini. He is the Managing Director of Visit Brussels, as well as many other things, I believe. And then we have with us Pedro Omar, Managing Director of Fundació Turisme de Palma de Mallorca 365, so the Foundation of Tourism of Palma de Mallorca. So today we're going to be talking about the trends that we see, the problems that we're facing, the priorities, and how can we empower citizens to co-create the future of tourism, the future of cities. We're going to be talking about some of the challenges in the short term that we're facing, maybe issues with connectivity, issues that we're facing even with technology, and how can we use this time, this end of the pandemic, to be more prepared and create a more resilient industry. So I would like to start just with a pretty general question. Maybe we can do it very, very fast. Just want to know, where do you think we are at, and what is the vision for long, mid, and short term? Can we make it headlines? It's just, where do you think we are at in Bologna and in the industry, and the vision that you have? We're going to go in this direction, if it's okay for you, and then we will go with a specific question with each of our panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think, like Bologna destination, we are in a good position, because as a second destination, a smaller destination in Italy, the last 4 months has been very good in terms of occupancy rate of hotel, in terms of people coming. And for leisure tourism, I'm quite confident for the next 12 months, 6 months. I think we will recover the 2019 very easily. Quite different will be the business tourism. And for us, it's very important, because we have a balance between leisure tourism and business tourism, 50%. So how the business tourism connected with the trade fair, congress, or the travel of the industries will recover, and how the hybrid event or hybrid connection will change this part of business. It's something that we have to be very ready to react.
Well, thank you very much. Just quick question, what is the long-term vision that you have for Bologna in tourism?
I think we have, our long vision is something that was before the pandemic, so it's something that started in 2018, 2017, and the pandemic just accelerates some aspects. So we want to consolidate one of the best second destinations in Europe. We want to work a lot on the quality of our services, of the quality of the staying of our tourism during the 42 hours, 72 hours they are in Bologna. We are a short break destination. So work a lot on the economic impact of the tourism on our destination, trying to work a lot on the organization, and even more important, try to work a lot on the balance between the tourism and the resident, because we are a destination of the metropolitan area is 1 million inhabitants. Our city center is a medieval city center, so we have to take care of the originality of our city center. So, and the resident should continue to visit and stay in the city center. And the success that we have in the last year was just a mix. When the tourists come to Bologna, you can really have a weekend like a resident. And this is possible because they mix each other. Yes. And we want to continue, in the long term, we want to continue to have this added value. And this is difficult, but it's something that we want to work on it.
I absolutely love it. And I think that it is a great way to connect with the work that Flavie is doing. You've been working very, very hard on a new model of co-creation and allowing tourism to empower communities, to allow them to be a part of the process, to make sure that it is hospitality and not hostility. And you have an incredible network. I think it is 110 cities approx.
116.
60, that's, you know, and
still improving.
And it's some of the most important tourism destinations in the world. And also you are doing many projects working on that particular aspect, but also the role of DMOs is extremely important to coordinate efforts and to make sure that there's a glue that ties together different stakeholders, but also the citizens. So can you tell us about what you're doing, initiatives that you want to share, the long-term vision that we were mentioning before?
Yeah, thank you very much, Carlos, for having me here. So we see that the recovery is here, more in the leisure than the business, that's for sure. But what we want to do is to build back better and not come back to what we were doing like 2 years ago. So the idea is really to put tourism and to position tourism, you know, as a means to the recovery. So that goes to, you know, improving our visitor economy in all the different cities, with, you know, not improving only the environmental, but also the social and economic, you know, sustainability of the city, and positioning the DMO as the coordinator of everything between leisure tourism, business tourism, and also the residents. This is the core of our core role of the DMOs, because if we're not doing it as DMOs, you know, other people will do it. And the DMOs have this core role here, and we have developed several projects. One of them is, you know, in partnership with other organizations. It's time for democracy. So it's really to measure the power of the citizens there. It's really to exchange best practice on how to get them involved into different projects, to make them part of the decision-making of the destination. Because what we want to do is to have some proud citizens, proud of their cities, and proud of being ambassadors as well. This is in a very short summary of what we're doing. And we are also thinking of, you know, also measuring the social sustainability of the destination as well. How can we improve as well the daily life of the citizens in a city, and living in a city that is also economically viable for them, and not a ghost city, you know, that is being empty, you know, because of citizens going away because it's too crowded or because it's too expensive or whatever.
Well, I think it is a wonderful experience, the one that you're having with It's Time for Democracy, and many other projects that you're working on that basically are leading the way and using different initiatives that can be used as pilot programs, where we envision the future of tourism and how can we make it sustainable and resilient, because if it is something that local populations are not happy with, and when you're destroying the environment or you are harming the ecosystem in general, then obviously there's it's going to be very difficult for the tourism industry to continue growing, especially because citizens are demanding that. Governments obviously are leading as well regulation that can help us to keep things the best we can, and even not only net zero, but it's even creating solutions that are making the destination even better than it was. And that, I would say, the connection between the local population and the tourists can create a lot of value. And I love the way you're working on that. And talking about resilience as well, and talking about how can we make our industry survive, not on next pandemic, but basically the world that is coming of technological disruption and changing every single industry as well in ours. We are facing now macro trends that are affecting our lives and our works. We have digital education that is changing, and we have remote work, where for the first time in human history, you can work somewhere that is not exactly where you live. And not only sometimes, some companies, including the technology companies, but many others, are allowing employees forever to work wherever they want, which means that you can basically travel constantly. So that is a massive shift for the industry. And also, you have the opportunity for hotel chains or for others to change business models and allow for work environments or for even new ideas that can help to make tourism needed regardless. So we would like to know a little bit your opinion, not only from Visit Brussels, but also your general opinion on how can we make tourism more resilient, and also what do you think is some of the biggest issues that we're facing right now, maybe connectivity, maybe other problems that you see and that you're experiencing lately?
Okay, first of all, I think on the short-term basis, the biggest issue that we have all in terms of tourism is the connectivities of our destination. For the moment, still, we do not have recovered the total connectivity that we have in the past in terms of airplane or even train connection. And that's, for us, the most important thing that we need to have quickly is a full recovery of the connection, because without connection, we cannot have tourism again in terms of leisure, of business tourism. And for the moment, we can say that for next year, when we see the bookings, they are quite good. But we are really afraid of the prices, especially in terms of the airplane connection, which is really high. This means maybe people are not coming, even if there is Congress which is organized, because it's too expensive. And that's, for us, a big challenge on the short-term basis. On the long-term basis, I think, of course, we have seen new technology, new digital, but we see also the importance of people to meet each other in real. I think our business is going to change. There will not have tourism like it was before the pandemic. I think we are building a new type of tourism. But also in the same times, our world is facing the biggest challenge that they have never had in the past in terms of climate and everything. And in our industry, the tourism industry, then really help to try to resolve this big challenge in helping people to meet each other. When we see what happened now with the COP26, people all over the world are meeting together to try to find solutions. But that's business tourism. And that's also a key role that we can play. We can help the world to facing those challenges, and we keep to help people to continue to travel, to meet, and to find solutions, those big challenges. I think our industry has a big role to play. Even, and we talk about inhabitants meeting people, I think after this crisis, we can hope that tourism is coming back to this basic. And the basic of tourism is meeting each other to discover their culture and trying finally to understand each other to build maybe a better world.
I absolutely agree, and I think maybe you could elaborate a little bit on the role that MICE is going to have, and how can we make MICE so attractive and so necessary that companies cannot avoid it? Because right now it seems that it is not important enough, or it's too expensive, and if I can just do a Zoom meeting, well, it should be enough. And there's a lot that we lose in the way. And these days we've been experiencing a lot of interactions, we've been able to meet people, and the level of connection you get and the amount of things that you get done is different. But I guess there are some things that we could do to make clear the case of the importance of MICE. So what do you think about that?
I think, I mean, if we take the example today, we have really good speech, we have really good conferences, good exhibitions. But the best contact I have been doing, it was yesterday during the dinner and this morning at the coffee break. And that's the best contact I have. I have really good contact with good people, which is important for the future of my destination. I cannot have this contracting virtual. The people have to understand that we cannot make good contact in virtual basis. We need to meet. And especially in the off program, it's maybe not to meet during the official program, but the off program is really important. And there is no off program in the virtual world. It's only during the real world that we can have off program, that we can meet each other and trying to build something together. All the company have to understand, because it's also when you have a private company, if you want to develop something with your colleague, you need to be in presence. You cannot be in virtual. And that's, okay, it's lucky that we can have these conferences that many people is following in hybrid mode. That will be the future, certainly, but we keep to meet also. Then I think all the future will be hybrid, certainly, but we keep at minimum meeting to each other.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. And now I would like to go with Pedro, and I think there's something really cool that he is going to be able to share with us that they are doing that is very connected with what Flavie was doing about this co-creation and empowering of citizens and making connection between the traveler and also the inhabitants. But the possibility of our destinations to be improved and to be promoted with the guidance of our own inhabitants. But before that, you can share with us what are your plans, what was your vision, and then I will ask specifically about that.
Okay, perfect, thank you. See, as talking about nowadays, what's happening? Okay, we've come back this past summer faster than we thought, sincerely. Okay, we didn't expect to come back as fast as we've seen. So the numbers we've been seeing this past summer in Palma as well as in Mallorca are quite impressive, which tells you, okay, there's a lot of people that want to travel again. Okay, everybody's anxious, but this has made us, wait a moment, have we learned anything about what's been happening on a worldwide level over these past 2 years? Obviously, if we want to go back into business the same way as we were in 18 and 19, we haven't learned anything. Okay, so our vision is there. That's our vision. Okay, we cannot continue growing the way we were doing in the past. The discussion is not a discussion on numbers. It's a discussion on quality. It's a discussion of sustainability. And sustainability is not only environmental sustainability, it's social, economic, and environmental. Okay, Palma has 450,000 inhabitants. We receive 7.5 million tourists. That's crazy. Okay, we cannot continue like that. Okay, what are we going to happen? If we don't stop that, we will have a thematic park, and we don't want a thematic park. No one wants to go to a thematic park. If you want to go to a thematic park, you go to Disney World. It's a great park, but the cities are not that, okay? So we either change that model, we either change the business model, or in the next 5 to 10 years, we will be killing our economy, okay? So in the mid to long term, we are working in balancing quality over quantity, first thing. Second, nothing can be done without thinking what the inhabitants of the city want to do. Do they want tourists? Yes or no? If they want tourists, what are the conditions? What needs to be sold to them? Do you want to mingle with those tourists? We cannot have, we were talking with Patrick before, we cannot have restaurants just for tourists and restaurants just for residents. If you're a tourist, if you want to travel to a city, you don't want to mix with other tourists. You want to mix with the inhabitants. Okay, so we need to change completely the model. Otherwise, all these past 2 years, we haven't learned anything about it. Okay?
I absolutely love the vision, and I think that it is a great practice for every destination here, and we can learn so much from that experience and that idea. But not only that, is that there are practical ways to implement that. It's not just that it sounds beautiful and then how are you going to do that? The reality is there's many ways that you can actually create those connections and make people participate. And one of them is the one that you are actually working on.
Exactly.
I think is Tu Palma Favorita, so it's your favorite palma, which is a co-creation project where inhabitants participate, right? Can you tell us
Actually,
a little
yeah, we are this Tuesday, we're kicking a quite ambitious campaign, which is called Your Favorite Palma, okay? And it is fully targeted to the residents of the city. And basically, they are the ones that are going to decide what it needs to be sold in the city, okay? Everybody says, okay, you have a wonderful cathedral. Yeah, but Palma is much more than just a cathedral, okay? So we are co-creating not only our strategy, but also the products that we want to promote and what we want to show the world that they can do in Palma. And all of that is going to be done through co-creation, okay? So we have opened up a webpage which is called tupalmafavorita.com, and there you go there, and basically the way it's done is, okay, you may be living in a certain part of the city, but you may be working in some other part of the city. So you can talk about, okay, I live in this neighborhood, this is what I would promote about this neighborhood. But I work in this other neighborhood, and this is what I would promote in this other neighborhood. Okay, so for the future, everything that we want to do in terms of what it needs to be promoted, where and how, it will be decided by the people that live in the city of Palma.
It's absolutely brilliant, and that's the whole point of democracy. It's not just votes, it's not just being able to express your opinion, it is about being able to act and create the country that you live in or the city that you live in. And that is one of the best practices that I think everybody should take, because the potential is unlimited. The capacity of inhabitants to provide ideas, to create new products, and to create economic growth for themselves and for the city if they are collaborating with governments and with other stakeholders that are coordinated by the EMOs. I think it is a really, really good approach, and I would like everybody to take note and hopefully empower every citizen and every employee and every stakeholder that they have to do things together. Patrick, I would like to know more about what do you think is the priority that we should all have, and what are the challenges that you think we're going to face? What are the recommendations do you have for us and to follow the steps that you're implementing in Bologna? So challenges, priorities, recommendations.
First of all, when we talk about the EMO, I think we have to have the double meaning of the M, which is marketing, and more now it's management of the destination. So we have to be very aware of it. As a DMO, you have to work on the management of the destination. We as a short break destination, we are working a lot of improve the staying of the people during the 3 days. And for us, the keys is the contact between the visitor and the destination contact point. So work on communication and contact, but just to give the right information at the right time. Of course, we talk with them before, or we'll talk with them after, but for us, in the future, will be strategic to talk with them during the 72 hours they are staying in our destination. Because so we can improve their staying, the quality, which is a word that I have heard a lot during these 2 days, and we can improve the economic impact. To do that, we have to work on technology, innovation technology and investment. Before we were talking about all the system, CRM, DMS, CMS, e-commerce, which we need to work and invest on it, but we need to put the visitor at the center of the circle of all this software, because if not, it's useless. We go to work on process, because, for example, my company, we are 60 people, and in the last 3 years, we are changing completely our process, because if we want to talk with our visitor during their stay, we have to be able to give information time to market. So it's a changing of process and changes of flows in the company. And the third thing is the human resource. We need to have a new profession in our business. At least the problem we have had that 3 years ago, 2 years ago, when we start with this strategy, we don't have inside the right people. Okay, that was a problem. But the big problem is that the market didn't provide us the right people. So we have to start to train and form the people. So to invest more and more, especially to young people. A database analysis in tourist business, it's very difficult to form, not because to interpret the data, but because he has to work on all the software that we work with a CRM, with a CMS, a DMS, the e-commerce.
And the integration with many other tools that are coming up and new AI functionalities.
So it's not, you don't need a specialist on one software or a specialist in technology. You need an expert of the business. So this is very important, yes, because now in the future, organization will be fundamental, and organization means safety for the tourist. Yes. So the two words combined are very important.
Absolutely love that, and I think it's a very, very important piece of evidence, the fact that even looking for talent, even paying the talent, even doing everything you can to train the talent is still not enough. The CEO of Deloitte said that 80% of companies in the world are going to have problems with talent next year, just to give a piece of information that, you know, it's really important. Upskilling is going to be fundamental, and there are opportunities. People are facing a lot of problems with unemployment, and still skills are not there. There's a mismatch, and we need to do everything we can to train. I think UNWTO has this academy, and it's pushing, and we are doing the same with WIA as well, trying to train people on the skills that are going to be able to help the private and the public sector to move forward. So we don't have a lot of time, but I really want to have a little bit more of information from you guys before we leave. First of all, what do you think of the things that you advocate for, or the things that you recommend to your members? What is what you would do if you were in charge of every city that you have in the, you know, as members, and everybody that has a destination? What would you do? Because you are a specialist on analyzing what is the best way to go forward, and you recommend those things. So give us the best recommendations you have. What is the best way forward?
Several things. I would say first, yeah, focus on your citizens, as we just said. Second, focus on digitization, but as a tool, you know, for your objective. Third, really consider as well what is the uniqueness of your destination, and what is your balance. The balance between tourism and residence is different in Mallorca than in I don't know, Pattaya, for example, or whatever European cities. So define what is your uniqueness, and how do you position yourself, you know, on the market, so that, and why also people are coming to your destination. We see more and more purposeful tourism. People are coming to this and that city for one specific reason now. And because of the value of the cities are very, very important as well, and play a big role on that. And this is because of those values that when you travel to a destination, then you want to meet people, and then you want to dig into, you know, all the different topics. And this is also echoing what Pedro and Patrick were saying. And one last message that is also very, very important: travel is still not that easy because of those lack of harmonizing of EU regulations. And it took me like 45 minutes to convert my vaccination test into the Spanish thing, to get the QR code. So this is also a big barrier that we need to come across, and we all know that, and we are discussing with the European authorities for that.
Wonderful advice. Thank you very much. Your turn. What is the recommendation that you would share, and what is also the call to action for governments? You know, Brussels is always very political, and I assume that you have a lot of things to share about that. Call to action for the governments, but also for the private sector, and for every stakeholder in the industry.
I think for the government and in general, Europe is a region of the world. Please, only one rules for all European countries in terms of COVID, in terms of pandemics, because we cannot manage so many different rules. If we want to continue to travel, to maintain the contact with the people, only one rules for all the European countries, That's really, I think, in terms of pandemics, we have to think global instead of the European country and not to think in terms of either our own country or even our own region. That's really important for the future. That's first. And for the rest, I think, sometimes tourism seems to be a problem for certain person in terms of sustainability. And I do believe that we are not the problem, but we can be the solution in many terms, in helping people to work together, to meet together. And I think really our industry is part of the solution that we have, and we have to continue this. And back to the basic of tourism. The basic of tourism, the first tourist is people, they want to meet each other. And after this pandemic, and I completely agree with what you say, we don't want that our city is going to be an attraction. We want that the people come in our city to meet the people who live in our city and that they can exchange together and live a real experience. We are not Disneyland. And I think that's really important for the future, back to basic, help the people to meet each other when they are coming in our destination. And our role in terms of DMO is completely changed. It's not about promoting a city, but it is really about building a new city altogether, because when your city is good for inhabitants, they are good for tourists, they are good for economy. We have also to stop those splits, our role in terms of only promoting tourism or promoting inhabitants. No, if we are building a better city, we build it for everyone. Tourism, inhabitant, business.
I absolutely love it. I think we should all recognize the leadership shown by the panelists today. We are talking so much about humans. We're talking so much about purpose. We're talking so much about sustainability. Before, it was not the issue. It was short-term results, period. And sometimes some actors were trying to push those ideas and make them part of the narrative. Now it's the leadership from governments and from important institutions that are actually making everybody participating in that process. So I just wanted to thank you for the leadership that you're showing, and I hope that more sectors as well continue with the same path that you're creating in tourism, because it is really transforming the way we do business, and that can be applied to every other sector as well. So thank you very much for that. And please, Pedro, your final thoughts. I know that you have to catch a plane, but now it's your time. You do whatever you want. If you want to say something, you have all the time in the world.
Very quickly, yes, thank you. I would say first, we need to put back the resident in the center of the equation, okay? And I fully agree with Patrick. We are not a marketing organizations, we are management organizations. That's our future, first thing. Second, if we're able to put the resident in the center of everything, things will change. The moment we're able to do that, we can think of a tourist as a temporary resident. So that tourist is coming into the city temporarily, and he or she is going to do what residents normally do. And I would close with collaboration with DMOs. It's not so much best practices, which we do that, but for example, Brussels is very business traveler oriented. We are more leisure oriented. Let's talk together and let's go Brussels and Palma. Let's go and promote both destinations in Asia. Okay, we do not compete. But if we're able to capture an Asian tourist that goes for business into Brussels, we have daily planes, Brussels-Palma, and he or she is in Brussels, and then hop on into Palma for 3 days. Okay, so joint collaboration between DMOs.
Absolutely love it. Multi-stakeholder collaboration, international cooperation, and just even using different sectors, bringing them together to make the experience more meaningful, more valuable, more relevant, so people still travel. Also in the business side, the collaboration between different destinations, putting humans at the center, sustainability and purpose. I think this is exactly where we're going. The entire economy is turning into an impact economy. I was in another session before, and I expressed one of the coolest pieces of evidence is we are going from $1 trillion investment in impact investing to 15, now 30, and we're going to $150 trillion of impact investing. And I think that that is exactly what we're seeing with this kind of leadership, the European Green New Deal, with everything that the European, I think, Union is doing as taking leadership in the world in this regard. No doubt that it is definitely influencing many others, and it's going to make things better dramatically. And the acceleration of this process has been, I think, pretty phenomenal. So I wanted to thank you all. I believe we have a bit more time. We have here like 4 more minutes, but Pedro, if you need to leave, you can already go. If you have any other thing that you would like to share before leaving, the floor is yours. And if you don't, maybe if we have any other question, we can allow the audience to ask. Do you have any other final remark?
I think we have overtime of 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's 5 minutes overtime.
Perfect. I just want to make sure that we use every second of the opportunity of talking with them. And obviously, the time was flying, and I believe it was incredibly useful. So thank you very much to all of you for being here, and thank you to our panelists. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.